Good morning, students. Now, in this part 2, we are going to move ahead with the chapter 9, The Bond of Love from the book Beehive. Let us begin with part 2. Out came his medical books, and a feverish reference to index began. What poison did you say, sir? Barium carbonate? Ah, yes. Barium salts? Ah, barium carbonate. Symptoms paralysis, treatment, injections of. Just a minute, sir. I'll bring my syringe and the medicine. A dash back to the car. Bruno, still floundering, means struggling to move about on his stumps, but clearly weakening rapidly, some vomiting. She was having vomiting, heavy breathing with having flanks. Flanks means having means taking deep breath, and flanks mean the side of the body that is between the ribs and hips, and gaping mouth means gaping meant wide open. See, the doctor took out his medical books and was searching the index for poison that was by barium carbonate, and he took out his medicines and out a syringe. So Bruno was struggling to move also. Vomiting was breathing heavily, and his mouth was wide open also at that time. Hold him, everybody. In goes the hypodermic. Bruno squeals. Hypodermic means what? A long needle used to give an injection under the skin. 10 cc of the antidote enters his system without a drop being wasted. Squeals means scream. 10 minutes later, condition unchanged, another 10 cc injected. 10 minutes later, breathing less. Stereoterrorist means noisy. Bruno can move his arms and legs a little, although he cannot stand yet. 30 minutes later, Bruno gets up and has a great feed. He looks at us disdainfully, as much as to say, "What's barium carbonate to a big black bear like me?" Bruno is still eating. See, the doctor asked everyone to hold Bruno as it screamed, and the medicine that was being injected to him, as at the time of medicine which was injected to him. See, the condition did not change, and another injection was also being given to him. 10 minutes later, what happened? Bruno's breathing eased, and it could stand. After what happened, after 30 minutes, he was able to stand and ate food also. See, it gave them such a look which showed them that it had been fine all the time, and as if nothing had happened to it at all. See, he was being, they have hold him very tightly, and 10 cc of antidote that entered into his body and drop without a drop being wasted. See, after 10 minutes later, what happened? The condition unchanged, and another 10 cc was again injected. And after 10 minutes later, what the breathing that was less stertorous, means noisy breathing was there, snoring type. And Bruno, he was able to move his arms and legs a little, and he, as he cannot stand yet. And after 30 minutes later, what happened? He got up. Bruno gets up and has a great feed, and he looks at disdainfully all, and as much as says that such a big bear, what will happen with that? So Bruno is still eating. He starts eating. Another time, he found nearly 1 gallon of old engine oil, which I had drained from the sumps of the Studebaker, and was keeping as a weapon. Studebaker means was an old American car. Weapon against the inroads of termites. He promptly drank the lot, but it had no ill effects whatever. See, the sumps means what? The base of an internal consumption of engine, which serves as a reservoir of oil. And see, in the another incident, what happened? Bruno, it drank the used engine oil which the narrator had taken out of his Studebaker car, and had kept to get rid of the termites. See, that did not affect Bruno at all. The months rolled on, and Bruno had grown many times the size as it was. See, as the days passed away and Bruno grew bigger, and the size he was when he came, he had yeah, he had equaled the Alsatians in height and had even outgrown them, but was just as sweet, just as mischievous, just as a playful, and he was very fond of us all. Above all, he loved my wife, and she loved him too. She had changed his name from Bruno to Baba, a Hindustani word signifying small boy, and he could do a few tricks too. At the command Baba wrestle or Baba box, he vigorously tackled anyone who came forward for a rough and tumble. Give him a stick and say, Baba, hold gun, and he pointed the stick at you. Ask him, Baba, where's baby? And he immediately produced and cradled affectionately a stump of wood which had carefully concealed in his straw bed, but because of the tenant's children, poor Bruno or Baba had to be kept changed most of the time. See, as the time days passed away and Bruno was he grew big, it grew bigger and outgrew to Alsatian dogs. See, still it was sweet and naughty and playful also, and he was very fond of everyone. And narrator's wife, she was very much attached to Bruno, and she changed his name from Bruno to Baba, which means a small boy in Hindustani language. See, Baba did some tricks also when he was ordered, when what he was being ordered to do, Baba whistle or Baba box, he would whistle the person and overpower him. When commanded Baba hold gun, he would point a stick at the person as if ready to shoot him. And when asked, Baba, where's the baby? He would take out a piece of wood and cradle its affectionately like a baby. And he also hidden the piece of wood under the straw bed. As he had grown big, he was changed. Why? Because he could be threatened to the children, because the children who were living around there. Then my son and I advised my wife and friends advised her too to give Baba to the zoo at Mysore. He was getting too big to keep at home. After some weeks of such advice, she at last consented. Hesitantly, and before she could change her mind, a letter was written to the curator of the zoo. Curator means what over here? A person in charge of the zoo. Did he want a tame bear for his collection? He replied, yes. The zoo sent a cage from Mysore in a lorry, a distance of 87 miles, and Baba was packed off. See, the narrator and his son, they advised to send Baba to the zoo. See, and when his wife was advised so by the friends also, they also told her. She and at last she agreed, and she wrote a letter to the zoo in charge to inquiry if they would like to keep a bear, tame bear at the zoo, and he affirmed, and then Baba was sent to Mysore Zoo. It was packed in a cage, kept in a lorry. And see, he traveled a distance of how much? 87 miles to reach the zoo. We all missed him greatly, but in a sense, we really relieved. My wife was inconsolable. She wept and fretted. For the first few days, she would not eat a thing. Then she wrote a number of letters to curator. How was Baba? Back came the replies, well, but threatening. He refuses food too. See, after what happened, although everyone missed Baba, but they were relaxed also. But the narrator's wife, she was disturbed by this, and she cried, and she was worried about Baba's well-being. And what happened initially, she used to initially what she used to do, she did not drink or eat also. So she was concerned about Baba. So she wrote a letter to the zoo in charge to inquire about how is Bruno Baba, and he replied that Baba was also undergoing a similar situation. He was also going same type of situation, that he was not taking his he refuses to eat food too. He was not taking his food. After that, friends visiting Mysore were begged to make a point of going to the zoo and seeing how Baba was getting along. They reported that he was well but looked very thin and sad. All the keepers at the zoo said he was fretting. See, he was fretting means was worried, was unhappy, not relaxed. For 3 months, I managed to restrain my wife from visiting Mysore. Then she said one day, I must see Baba. Either you take me by car or I'll go myself by bus or train. So I took her by car. See, she would ask her friends were visiting Mysore to visit Baba and check out how he is feeling over there. And everyone gave a similar way of answer that Baba was fine, but he it appeared to be very thin and sad. And the staff at the zoo also, they said that he seemed worried about it. That narrator restrained his wife from visiting the zoo for 3 months. He didn't allow her to go for 3 months. See, one day what happened? She said that she wanted to see Baba, and if he would not take her to the zoo, then she would go herself by bus or by train. And finally, he agreed to take her, and they went to see Baba at the zoo. Friends had conjectured, means formed an opinion by guessing that the bear would not recognize her. I had thought so too, but while she was yet some yard from his cage, Baba saw her and recognized her. He howled with happiness. She ran up to him, petted him through the bars, and he stood on his head in delight. See, their friends were there. They predicted that Baba would not recognize her now, and the narrator also thought that so, but his amazement was what, that she when she was few steps away from the cage only, and Baba saw her from there, and immediately it recognized her, and he screamed with happiness. So she ran up to him and petted him, and Baba was so much happy to have her back. For the next 3 hours, she would not leave that cage. See, she was over there only. She was not willing to leave the cage from there. She gave him tea, lemonade, cakes, ice creams, and what not. She gave him food to eat, all tea, lemonades, cakes, ice cream, and then closing time. And when it was a closing time, came and we had to leave. At that time, they had to leave. My wife cried bitterly and she started whipping. Baba cried bitterly, and Baba also cried a lot. Even the hardened curator and the keeper felt depressed. See, the curator and the keepers who were taking of the care over there, they also felt depressed. As for me, I had reconciled myself to what I knew was going to happen next. See, she was knowing what will happen next, so he reconciled it. See, for that, Baba was her wife was cried very bitterly, and at the same time, the Baba was also crying. And see, the creator and the keeper who were taking care of him, they also felt very much depressed in this. I hope you all have understood till here. In the next part, we will move ahead. Thank you.